Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So, Halloween was on a Friday this year, which was awesome for anybody who likes to go out and party or celebrate. And maybe your neighborhood was full of kids trick or treating. Personally, mine, not so much. I've got a lot of candy left over. Not to mention, I feel like the trick or treating experience of our childhood has been ruined by stuff like trunk or treat, where you don't have kids going door to door anymore. Not to mention the lack of families that live in individual homes. But I digress. Enough about the societal issues. Let's talk about the costumes, because I know you've seen a lot of talk about the costumes that people were wearing, and really the division on the political spectrum between these costumes. Maybe you already know where this is going from the thumbnail, but you had a lot of darlings of the right. And I know you might get mad and say these aren't representative of right-wing ideals, but when you have people like Lily Gaddis, who made tens of thousands of dollars after making racist rants online, when you have women like Brittany Venti, who lean into their ambiguous racial status to talk about how they can't be racist against black people because they're half black, women like Empath Chen, who make their bones just being as divisive and crazy as possible and smoking meth online, I'm gonna give you meth smoking as a right-wing habit. Sorry, but all of these debutantes and darlings of the right must have been in a group chat together because they all decided to do blackface for their costume this year. Brittany Venti's may have been the most ambiguous because she was just wearing a charcoal face mask, but her picture and caption sort of ruins any kind of plausible deniability she may have had. Empath Chance is just lazy. She looks like she's a coal miner more than a racist, but again, the caption ruins that for her. And finally, Lily Gaddis, her lack of camera appeal and ability to speak made her able to paint all the way to her collarbones. She at least got the most coverage of all these women. And people were offended by this, this talk about blackface being wrong, of course. And there were some conservatives who brought up the Drewski Whiteface skit that he did a while back when he did the NASCAR race and trying to say, well, this is acceptable now, so that means we can do blackface too. I talked about that in depth on my Drewski video, assuming something like this would happen. If you want to watch it, there you go. But more on the subject of this video regarding costumes and the political alignment, you have people to the political left of these women who were dressed as Charlie Kirk. You had a lot of people who wore costumes of the freedom shirt, a neck wound, blood going down the side of their shirt, stuff like that. And you could say it's in bad taste. The guy's been dead for less than 2 months. But zombie dead person is a costume. You can say it's too soon. That's fine. I understand. Back in 2006 in September, it was Steve Irwin that died. The stingray that took him out. There were people who dressed up like Steve Irwin for Halloween that year. South Park even made a bit about it. But that's zombie dead person. That's too soon, within 2 months. That is someone who I feel like many of you out there, conservative, liberal, wherever you sit on the political spectrum, would also agree that Steve Irwin had a more positive impact on the world regarding his rhetoric, regarding what he taught people, regarding his message and his output than Charlie Kirk did. That was too soon to do Steve Irwin. But was it? Dead man, zombie. What's the difference? Let's be honest. Is it because this is someone you liked? Are you offended by this now because you feel this is someone who's mocking the death of someone you cared about? I'm sorry, but to quote a line from your playbook, stop being such a snowflake. It's Halloween. Dressing up as a zombie, dressing up as someone who is gory and dead and stuff, that's what it's about. You're supposed to scare people. Well, you're supposed to give out candy to children as well. And I certainly hope none of the parents who were answering doors were dressed up in these Charlie Kirk costumes. It seems like most of the people who are wearing these Charlie Kirk costumes are what I would consider politically poisoned, just so involved with their movements that they can't really look outside of it for a moment. Everything has to be a reference to what's going on right now. The blackface costumes, though, you had quite a few people of the political right who were doing this. And some not so politically right. Some people who I'm sure Nerdrotic touts himself as this kind of middle-of-the-road centrist, I don't want politics involved with my movies and stuff, but he is, again, who was leaning into ambiguity with his overly bold T-mask on his Mr. Terrific outfit. Just a little bit more coverage than would be comic accurate. But again, we're leaning into ambiguities here. There are plenty of ways for you as a white person to dress up as a dead black person for your Halloween costume and not do blackface. If you need any tips on how to do that, just look at Weird Al Yankovic and how he dressed in his music videos or on stage performances when he's doing a song by a black artist. The moment you pull out that grease paint and you look at it in your hand, just realize you're going too far right there. But the going too far is what these right-wing accounts want. They want the engagement because they don't believe in anything. They just want money for their outrage. Is this video sort of playing into their hand? I guess. I don't know. But, you know, for the normal people out there, I hope we can all understand that this is gross, this is bad, and there needs to be some sort of social ramification for the people who think it's okay to do blackface. And yes, I think that being a dead man for Halloween is less offensive than doing blackface. I think most people would agree with that, but again, these are strange times we live in, and I have to make a video about it. But Halloween's done. Hope you didn't have too much candy saved up from the lack of trick-or-treaters. Don't eat it all in one place or send it my way. And I guess until you have to go to the doctor and they tell you you have type 2 from eating all those Butterfingers, y'all try to have a good day.